Thank you very much, Toastmaster of the Day. For our second speech, we have Sophia Ndiga. Sophia Ndiga is taking visionary communication as her path. This is her level 1, part 3 speech, in which is researching and presentation. The objective of this speech will be to show basic research methods and presentation while giving out a well-organized and a well-delivered speech. She has 5 to 7 minutes. The title of her speech is Plastically Speaking. Sophia Ndiga, Plastically Speaking. Plastically Speaking, Sophia Ndiga.
Up to early 90s, most foods and drinks were packed in khaki papers, metallic tins, and glass bottles. Compare that to today, when you walk into a supermarket, what you're likely to find are plastic bags and plastic bottles. Fellow Toastmasters and guests, tonight, we engage on the topic of single-use plastics. We look at the quantities produced so far, the impact this has on the ecosystem, and the possible solutions. In the year 2018, or rather 2021 March, United Nations Environmental Program published a report. In this report, they estimated that between 1950 to the year 2015, 8.3 billion metric tons of plastic had been produced. That is 3.8 trillion kilograms in 65 years. Unfortunately, COVID-19 has exacerbated the situation with products such as face masks and sanitizer bottles. This report further states that of all this plastic, only around 12% is incinerated or burned. At this point, I know some of you may want to argue that then much of these must have decomposed by now. But further reports by United Nations Environmental Program in a report titled Single-Use Plastics, published in 2018, indicated that some of this plastic takes up to 1,000 years to decompose. Instead, they gradually break down into small fragments known as microplastics. Such shocking statistics. What then is the impact of all this plastic on the ecosystem? These microplastics have a way of getting into the food chain, that's the human food chain, through ingestion by animals such as fish. And a report done by National Environmental Management Agency confirmed that around 70% of cattle around urban areas had plastics in their stomachs, that is, when they were being slaughtered. Another dangerous impact of this plastic is that it clogs our drainage systems, and this results in blockages, and these blockages will lead to incidences such as seasonal flooding, as well as mosquito bleeding. These will come with, and especially in slum areas, will come with diseases such as malaria and diarrhea. Further reports indicate that if we do not control production and consumption of single-use plastics, then by the year 2050, there will be more plastic in oceans than fish. I believe the solution lies with various stakeholders, such as manufacturers, the government, you, and I. On its part, the government of Kenya in the year 2017 banned production, sale, and use of single plastic bags. And you'll all agree with me that this has gone a long way in conserving the ecosystem, before the ban, we had millions of bags being handed out to customers by supermarkets. In June 2020, the government banned the use of these single plastic products in national parks and other protected areas. On my part and your part, we too have a role to play. And the role that we can play is by reducing our consumption of single-use plastics. Instead of having those disposable bottles, how about having these reusable bottles and some other products? Additionally, we can practice proper disposal of these plastics, and this will go a long way in one, conserving the environment, because a lot of fossil fuels are required for this production, and two, proper disposal ensures that we have a cleaner environment. In conclusion, plastic is cheap and easy to make, and this has contributed to the boom that we have seen in the last years. COVID-19 has exacerbated the situation. These plastics pose a danger to the ecosystem and more so our health as human beings. Luckily, you and I can practice a few things, such as reducing our consumption of single-use plastics, and where we use them, then we practice proper disposal. So fellow Toastmasters and guests, having known that it takes up to 1,000 years for some of these plastics to decompose, and two, that this plastic poses a danger to the ecosystem and our health as human beings, my question to you and I is, what are we doing to ensure that future generations will have a single-use plastic-free environment? Thank you, Madam Toastmaster, and back to you.
Thank you very much, Madam TMD. What are we doing to ensure future generations have a single-use, plastic-free environment? That is the question that Sophia Ndiga has posed to us, Toastmasters and guests. And the topic single-use plastic is not only important, but very relevant, especially in this society where the use of plastics is growing very exponentially and you can say almost uncontrollably. The things I did love about your speech was, one, that you did structure your speech very well using the rule of three, but you divided your speech into three sections, which was the quantity, the impact, and the solutions. Secondly, you did, as per your objectives, it was research and presentations, and you did give us references. For example, you did give us references from the United Nations Environmental Program, the March 2021, where you stated that 8.3 billion metric tons of plastic has been produced, and only 12% is being incinerated. And also where you say that single-use, you stated in a research by the single-use plastics, a roadmap for sustainability. In order to make your speech better, I would advise the following. In some of your references, for example, where you said further research says that in 2050, there'll be more plastics than fish, you could have told us which research was that. And also, if for the ban of plastics in Kenya in 2017, I believe there should be some documentation, either it was an act of parliament or it was something to do with NEMA. It should be something to show us that this is what was being implemented. I think that is what I would want you to improve on. And also I would like you to improve on your stage presence. I think you stood at one position. There was use of gestures, but you stood at one position. So if you could improve on your stage presence, that would also be good. So over and all, you are good in the use of three. You used good references, and I would like you to improve on your references and also your stage presence. And I would like to recommend that you move on to your next project, and I wish you all the best. Thank you.